Welcome back, class. Mrs. Matheson here. I'm going to be going through our geometry section, Unit 1, Notes 3, on distance and midpoints. Our learning targets for today is going to be, I can use coordinate geometry to represent and analyze line segments, including determining lengths and midpoints of line segments. So that word coordinate geometry, that just means we're going to be on that coordinate plane and dealing with some ordered pairs. So we're going to be looking at that. But first, before we can get to that coordinate plane, we need to just discuss a few things. So let's start off with, well, what is the definition of distance between 2 points? It is the length of the segment connecting the 2 points. All right, so when we're dealing with it on a number line like we see here, we're going to be using the absolute value of x2 minus x1. And with this, the order is not important. Remember, absolute value is dealing with, well, what's the distance of the problem from 0? So pretty much what you're doing is if you have a negative number inside those absolute values, you're making it positive. So let's go ahead with AC. So from A to C, well, A is at -5. So we're going to do absolute value of -5 minus C as at 0. Make those a little bigger for you. -5 minus 0 is -5. Well, the absolute value of -5 is going to give us 5. All right, I'll get problem 2 set up for you. Find BD. Absolute value, B is at -2 minus D is at +2. Go ahead and finish 2 and do all of 3 for us for class tomorrow. All right, so let's talk about the midpoint of a segment. Well, the midpoint of a segment is the point halfway between 2 points. The point halfway between 2 points. All right, so this one, its formula is going to be x1 plus x2 divide by 2. And again, it doesn't matter the order of your x1 or your x2. So what's the midpoint of FH? Well, F is here at -3, so we're going to do -3 plus H is going to be here at 5, so we're going to add those, and remember, divide by 2. -3 plus 5 is 2, and 2 divided by 2 is 1. All right, so I think that you guys will be very comfortable being able to do number 5 on your own. Nothing too difficult so far. All right, so let's talk about number 6. Well, find B when A is the midpoint of BT. Well, if A is the midpoint of BT, that means it's the halfway point between 2 points. So that means that BA is congruent to AT. Those 2 little hash marks I made there just means that they're congruent or they're equal. So I can set 2B plus 3 equal to 11. Well, let's just go ahead and solve this very simple equation. We minus 3 to both sides. So we have 2B equals 8. Divide both sides by 2. And B equals 4. All right, and so that's all it asks for. Let's go ahead and look at 7. Find the measure of PQ if Q is the midpoint of PR. So again, these 2 portions are congruent, so we're going to set them equal to each other. 14 plus 5y equals 9y minus 2. Now, I'm very confident that you guys are going to be able to find what y equals, but look here, the question is asking you to find PQ. So finish up number 7 by finding y and plugging that back in and finding PQ. All right. So let's actually look here at the coordinate plane. First thing I want us to do is find the coordinates of the following points. So G, the ordered pair for G. Remember, ordered pairs go X first and then Y. So we're going to see our distance. G, if we count, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So to the left, so it's -7. and we see that it's down 1, so -1. All right, F, oh, that one is going to be a little easier for us. It's to the right 1 and down 1. And then last we have H. H is going to be over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's over 6, and it's going to be up 5 for us. All right, so we're going to use those ordered pairs here in the next few problems. The midpoint formula on a coordinate plane. So we're going to start with midpoint formula. Given 2 points, x1, y1, and x2, y2, the coordinates of the midpoint can be found. You guys already have this written down in there. x1 plus x2 divided by 2. Now notice that that is the exact same midpoint formula for when it's on a ordered or on a number line. Now we just need to find the second half by doing the y1 plus y2 divided by 2. All right, so 8. What's the midpoint of FH? Well, if we start off with our x's, we are going to, it doesn't matter which one we pick as x1 or y1. I'm just going to go with FH. I'm going to go x1, y1, x2, y2. So we're going to take our x1 plus our x2 and divide by 2. And I'm going to write this in an ordered pair. Let's go ahead and set up our y's. So we're going to do -1 plus 5. Again, we're going to divide by 2. So our midpoint is 6 plus 1 gives us 7. Divide by 2. -1 plus 5 gives us 4. Divide by 2. Now we wouldn't leave them in the fraction states because we're talking about ordered pairs. So we have 3.5, comma 2. So that's that midpoint. Go ahead. You guys can find the midpoint for number 9. Number 9, I'll tell you that comes out to be whole numbers. So pause the video and get number 9 all done for us. All right, last portion of our notes today is the distance between 2 points on a coordinate plane. So we have here our distance formula. This is very important for you to learn. You're going to need to memorize this, so you might as well start memorizing it now. All right, so you use distance formula again when you have 2 points, x1, y1, and x2, y2. And we just plug them in and simplify using our order of operations. Number 10, what's the distance from point F to point H? Let me just rewrite down. F is going to be 1, -1, and H is going to be 6, 5. All right, so we're just going to start by plugging those into our distance formula. So distance formula equals, don't forget that square root. A lot of kids forget to write that when they keep going. All right, x1, y1, x2, y2. Again, doesn't matter which one if you pick as x1, y1, x2, y2, because you're going to be able to plug them in either place. All right, so we're going to do x2 of 6 minus our x1 squared plus our 5 minus our -1 squared. Minus a negative, don't forget, turns to plus a positive. So now we see 6 minus 1 gives us 5 squared plus 5 plus 1 gives us 6 squared. All right, 5 squared is 25 and 6 squared is 36. If we add those together, we are going to get the square root of 61. And let's actually find the square root of 61. That's going to be, let's round to 1 decimal place, 7.8. All right, I want you guys to try number 11 for us to have in class tomorrow. And we're done with distance and midpoint notes. See you guys then.